Good morning. Um, let's see if I have enough time to talk about this. I wanted to talk about um, one of the coolest connections that really connect my whole life down in a simple way, in a simple-ish way. um, it has to do with the connection of what I've recently talked about growing up without having like a structured routine, um, enforced, or is that the right word? Um, placed, enforced, placed, whatever. Um, the experience of not having the structured routine growing up in connection with depression, and then how it then connects to my addiction and the whole circle of that I find really interesting. So, as I've already talked about, um, I wasn't forced to wake up at the same time every day, or even forced to eat breakfast like very laissez-faire growing up. Um, and so that's already there. That was there my whole life. And then on top of that, I got diagnosed with major depression and anxiety whenever I was 10, and that's when I started taking medication. I was 10 or 11. I was in sixth grade. I remember that day clearly. And I started counseling when I was 7. And so when I started taking antidepressants, like nothing would work. Nothing. Not a single damn thing. It's like I'd take it, it would work for a little bit, and then I would be increased to the max dose, and then I have to try to find something else. And I did that for quite some time, and then they came out with this thing called GeneSight testing, where they I think they like swab your cheek or whatever, like a DNA test, and then they run that through this system that connects it with different medications, and seeing what, based upon like your DNA, like how would you metabolize each of these like medications, like which ones would even work for you, if any at all. And what came back on that test was that nothing would work for me besides like 3 medications, and one of them was like discontinued. The other one made me like incredibly sick, and the other one worked pretty good. I had to make sure I ate with it, and I had to take it at the same time every day. So that's like a little clue right there that I never realized till now. If I took it at the same time every day, like everything would be good. If I took it like 30 minutes outside that time, 10 minutes outside that time, like I would also kind of get sick. So real touchy, the medications that would work for me. And so that's interesting, right? And what's also interesting is these medications are all SNRIs. They're not SSRIs. They were SNRIs, serotonin norepinephrine re-up intake. And those aren't the classic medications they usually give you if you have depression. They go for the SSRIs because they're usually safer and there's less side effects. But it's interesting is I remember before we had done that testing, I remember telling my psychiatrist when I was a kid, I said, hey, I've done some research into this, and you keep giving me these SSRIs, indicating that my problem is just solely that I'm just not happy. And what I'm telling you here, sir, is I am happy, but I get depressed when I realize I can't put into action something that I'm wanting to put into action. It's like I'm wanting to do something, but I'm lacking this like motivating force that like can bring it into fruition for me, which tells me that I don't need an SSRI. I need something that is more directed at my ability to like be motivated, which would be an SNRI, or um, an MAOA, or a tricyclet. Like one of these other medications is what would probably do better for me. And he was like, yeah, that's fair. And so it's interesting that then when I took the testing, that ended up being true. Okay, so norepinephrine is kind of called like, um, it's like your get up and go. Like it puts you into action. And so then, hope you're staying with me here, guys. So then, it's not surprising that I like stimulants, because what's lacking is my get up and go. Okay, great. Now, I stopped taking medication because some part of me, like your soul, like your inner being, like knows what is best for you. And like, if you're just having a hard, well, I mean, it's twofold. It's like, I have a hard time with routine, so taking medicine routinely gonna have to be a hard time for me because I'm already lacking that base experience of being forced into a routine that would later benefit me. Um, so, but at the same time, those medications do make me more sick, and so it became real imperative that I got to the root cause of like the depression and all that, and was able to have like a more spiritual understanding of it. But I digress. The other point of this is that um, whenever I was deep in my addiction and trying to understand different things I could do to have the same result that was more healthy for me, what I looked into was supplements for like addiction recovery. And I came to find, so like what I did for a period of time whenever I was like staying sober for like a few months is I ended up using um, there's uh, like a workout powder called like C3 or C4, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I mean, that is the name, is like C3 or C4, but there's like a specific um, title of like the supplement, like what it's actually doing. And it was a powder, and that helped me a lot. But also, what I came to find is for stimulant addiction, taking supplements like L-phenylalanine, L-tyrosine, and L-theanine, I think I'm saying those right, help with the brain recovery. Okay, so hold that in mind, L-tyrosine. And I took that, and that actually did help. Like, that seriously did help me maintain my sobriety. And the only reason why I'm not taking it now is just because of where I'm living. Budgeting is real, and so I can't afford it. Although I probably could, but that's a different time. Uh, the point being, I was considering taking medication again, the one that had worked for me in the past, called Pristiq. And when I looked at the the neurotransmitter, like the way it actually works in the brain, the chemicals it releases, the first thing it targets is L-tyrosine, which then releases L-dopa, which then releases norepinephrine. Uh, and so I found that interesting because all of this literally is saying it's all one and the same. Like the thing I'm compensating for with my addiction is the same thing I was trying to address with taking my antidepressant, which was coming from the same thing, which is all coming back to something in my get up and go, which comes back to all that I truly need to really overcome it is to realize I'm worth routine, that I can enforce routine and be disciplined and like just be patient with myself and realize that that is the sole problem. Is like I just need a routine that allows me to build confidence like, oh, I can do this thing and it can have a good outcome. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's all interesting. I promise you, if you just look in like to what you're struggling with in addiction, it is indicating a neurotransmitter in the brain that's having a hard time being released because habits, actions, thinking, all of those qualities of being is what triggers the release of those things in your brain to allow you to to act in optimal health and function. So whenever you grow up and something is lacking somewhere, just, and it's a simple thing, it's a habit, it's a way of being talked to that you then don't talk to yourself in a kind way. All of those things create this experience where it's now not allowing for something to be released in the brain for you to feel safe and secure and whole, which leads to the addiction. So for example, if you're an opiate addict, I'd recommend taking GABA or 5-HTP. Those things are what's lacking in your brain chemistry due to how you grew up or the habits you've come to accrue, which is coming back to like you're just not being gentle and kind with yourself. There's a lot of pressure put on you. GABA helps you relax, which is what the opiates are doing, and the 5-HTP helps you feel like you're happy and like you're okay, which is what the opiates are doing. But so those things together help address that same thing that the opiates are, but not in a way that's so intense that it interferes with your life. So that's all I wanted to share for today. I have to go to work. Hope all is well, and I hope you find that as interesting as I do, because it's truly interesting how it all connects. Anyways, good day.